Nowadays, people only believe in things they see or which is proven by science. And yet, as children, we are told about knights in shining armour, dragons and princesses. All my life, I've been fascinated by stories. However, one which has always intrigued me most was Jennifer's. Ever since I was a girl, I remember her talking about the fairies in the wood, the ones she saw with her very own eyes. This documentary is about her and her eyewitness account of the fairies she saw. I held the interview when I was next round her house. So when did you start seeing fairies?
When I was about 10. I was born in 1940. My mum was a school teacher and my dad was in the RAF in the war. There were no children around. So when I was about 9 or 10, I used to go up to the plantation up the road. And it was in there that I used to see these little, what I call fairies. And I know they were there. I saw the things move, I saw the flowers move, there was cowslips there. And that's when I first started to see them. And because I was outside a lot, and the house was a riverside house that had a river running alongside, I used to go and sit down there and draw pictures of the old willow trees the other side. And it also, you saw these little things along the river, and they weren't gnats and moths or anything like that. They were real fairies.
So what did these fairies look like?
They were small, indescript little things moving around. I knew they weren't butterflies, I knew they weren't moths. And I just didn't know what they were.
So how tall would you say they were?
About 3 inches. If the sun was coming through the trees like the sunbeam, I used to think there was something there because you could see them flit through, make a little shadow going through the beam of the sun. I spent a lot of time in those trees.
Did you ever get any photo evidence of these?
Didn't have a camera in those days. Nothing. I used to go with a piece of paper and draw. And I did have some drawings because 76 years they're gone.
So did anyone else see these fairies?
Yes, there was one lady, or young girl, who lived not far away, and sometimes she'd come down to mine. And she'd come with me to the plantation. And in there we were together. And she saw them too. And we'd whisper at each other, "Shh, don't move."
So did you see these fairies anywhere else apart from the plantation?
Yes, there was a tiny sort of river running alongside of the house. That's why it was called Riverside House. And you could sit on the stones on the side, and with the bushes you'd get sunlight again and shadows, and you'd saw little shadows coming across a lot up the river. They were running along. This was a stream or river that was used to be small in the summer and much bigger in the winter. And you'd see them along here. There used to be nettles up the side. And this is where I saw most of them.
So was there any particular times you'd see them?
Spring and summer. I never went to the plantation in the winter, and I would never go up there at nights because I didn't like the feel of it at nights.
So why wouldn't you go up there at night?
Because even early evening, there was something felt wrong up there, and it felt almost evil, and there was too much noise, crackling of branches, and I couldn't.
Did you ever tell anyone about the fairies?
I did tell my mum, because seeing that near the river, I thought perhaps they were river sprites or water sprites, and I did tell her, but she said no. That was just a butterfly or something. She said it was being silly.
Do you ever still see fairies at all?
Not really now, because we've got no flowers. We had beautiful flowers in the garden, and I used to see them there. I even grew angel's wings and fairy wings plants especially, but not really now because we're older and we haven't got a very flowery garden now.
Do you ever go back to the old house of the plantation?
No, I haven't been back for years. I'd quite like to. Would you like to see where it was?
That would be brilliant.
Okay, it might not be there now, but we'll try.
We then went to Fawncett and to the plantation where Jennifer had spent most of her childhood. However, on the way there, she had conversations with her husband which piqued my interest.
I think we've sort of missed all that now. Fawncett is old and worldly. No building going on, no new houses, is there? It's just as it always has been. Let's hope this bike can be. Well, this is the woods, the plantation. You're here, it's changed a lot. It was full of flowers and much more, I don't know, I've just seen more enclosed. I mean, there's snowdrops. Oh, it's lovely to come back here.
How did it feel to go back to your childhood?
Very emotional. I could have cried in that plantation. I could, even though there's no leaves on the trees. The birds in there, how I remember them. It was lovely, and the river, and thank you.
I found her story compelling, and I've never really appreciated how much we take nature for granted until now. And I've never been prouder to call her my nanny.
Poppy, can I ask you something now?
Of course, yeah.
Did you feel in a different atmosphere when we went into my little triangle of woods? Did you feel anything at all?
It was a lot calmer than I imagined, considering it was between quite a few roads, and it definitely had some sort of otherworldly quality. I mean, the amount of birds there was absolutely phenomenal, and if it wasn't, a good place, then there probably wouldn't be so many birds.
Well, I used to spend a lot of time up there, and I used to sit up there. I used to take my school books up there and read my books when I was doing my O-levels, and I was there for such a long time, and I know I saw the little people up there, my little spirits of the wood. And you asked me what colour. They weren't a colour, they're like a iridescent, like the sun on a bubble, something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was lovely, and I think, well, I know, they're still there.